Hey everybody! Today I'm going to show you how to draw Peacock. So first things first, take your pen, your cap on the bottom of your marker, take your finger, find the very middle of your paper, then we're going to go up toward the top. We want to leave plenty of room for all of our beautiful peacock feathers. So we'll go up top here, then over to the right. So I'm right about here, the top right of my paper. First thing I'm going to do, once I'm in the top right here, I'm just going to draw a little curvy line there. That's for the top of the peacock's eye. Here on the left-hand side, I'm going to make a little small letter C, just for the back of the peacock's eye. I'm going to make a little letter U curve here, for sort of the bottom part of my peacock eye. This line is going to overhang it just a little bit there, like a little eyelid. And there we go, we've got the basic shape of the peacock's eye. We'll go in here and we'll take another little curve, kind of draw a little half circle there, fill in that eye a little bit. You can keep going here if you want, add in another little circle for a highlight. But that looks good enough for me. Let's keep going and draw the rest of the peacock's head. The next thing you'll want to do is just make a little curved line like this underneath the eye, kind of like a little half circle for the bottom part of our peacock's head. Now, starting here at the right-hand side of the eye, we're going to draw the front part of his head. So we're going to make a little curved line here that goes up over the peacock's head, and it's going to keep going all the way around like this. We're going to curve it around like a snake. All the way down, keep going. And now you'll notice I'm curving away from the eye. Curving out just like this. We'll stop right there. Pick that up in the next step. But now we have the peacock's head and the back of his neck drawn in. Just like that. Let's go ahead and draw in the underside of his neck now. So I'm going to take my finger right here to the bottom side of the peacock head. And I'm going to make a little copycat line here. It's kind of following the curve I made for the back of the peacock's neck. I'm going to take it in just a little bit right here. There we go. Then I'm going to make another curve out right here. Make it look a little bit thicker as we're getting into his body. And I'm just going to leave that right there. We'll draw a little bit more of his body in the next step, but I want to make sure to get his beak before we forget. He's got to be able to eat stuff. So let's give him a little beak. Curved line coming down here. We'll connect it with another line there to make a little triangle. Nice little triangular beak. You can add a little copycat line here. Make the underside of the beak. Curve it upward, give him a little smile if you want. That looks pretty good. But right now this could be just about any kind of bird. This could be a swan, this could be a goose, this could be all kinds of things. We want a peacock. So the secret to doing that is we have to give him these little special things here above his head. So I'm going to draw in 3 circles. And I'm going to kind of vary the size a little bit. You notice one of them's a little smaller than the other. Add one more in here. Again, I can kind of change the size a little bit. Now we're going to connect those to the peacock's head with some little wavy lines. I like to think these are kind of like little balloons. Like little balloons on strings. So just connect the balloons to the peacock head with the little balloon strings. You can add a few more kind of in the background here. These I'm going to kind of bump and jump my line around the little circles I drew first. Make it look like those circles are in the background. You add a couple more little balloon strings here to connect to the peacock's head. So it makes him look a little silly, but it definitely makes him look like a peacock. Okay, so we've got his head, his eye, his beak. The next thing we're going to need to do, and this is going to be the majority of him, is to give him his beautiful tail. So to do that, we have to make some long curvy lines here. We're going to start right here at the top of the peacock's back, right there. I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to sweep it down, then out to the side, going back down again. I'm going to kind of change direction here with a little notched letter V. And then I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going, making a few more notches. And these curved lines here to kind of continue that all the way down here to where I'm getting toward the bottom of my paper. Now, before I get too carried away here, I have to draw in the other side of the peacock's tail. So I'm actually going to start right where I did previous, right here on the peacock's back. This line I'm going to start here, and just like the line I made before, I'm going to curve it, but here I'm going to curve it out, and this one's going to curve out and down. So I'm not moving toward the right like I did before, kind of moving out toward the left. You notice my pen slipped in there? That's okay. We can just keep going here. This line is nice and loose. We can add a little notch in it here, add in a few extra line segments. This really gets to look like however we want it to look. You can make your peacock tail go real long all the way down here. You can make it curve any which way. Now you'll notice here at the very bottom, I'm just making a couple little short lines. These I'm going to use to connect together with notched letter V's. I'll show you what I mean. So with each one of those, I'm going to connect those lines now with a little triangle. Drawing a little triangle in between each one of those lines. So now I have kind of a jagged triangle, kind of a row of curvy little triangles all in a row here. This will make it look as though there's an area of loose feathers that are all kind of coming apart on the peacock. And that's what we're drawing in here. Alright, you can keep going in there, adding a few extra line segments and a few extra little notches in there. We'll add more detail, but right now we got to finish up our peacock here. He's missing a few elements. So what we want to do now is to kind of give the suggestion of the peacock's wing. We want to have his wing kind of tucked underneath these big spread of back tail feathers. So we're just going to make a couple little quick curving up lines like that. That's the shape of the peacock's wing. You can add a little copycat line next to it to kind of indicate feather texture. Maybe one more to kind of connect these two lines here, connecting the wing and the bottom of the peacock's body together. Now he at least has a complete body. Let's give him some feet so he can hang on to something here. I'm going to make a little backwards letter C and then a copycat backwards letter C next to it. So here, letter C curve, and backwards letter C curve. This gives me a nice little claw, little talon that the peacock can be holding onto a branch with. I'll do that just right again for his other foot. And there we go. Now he has something to hang on to with. Let's give him something to hold on to. We don't want him just hanging out here in space. I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to, right here along the bottom, start tracing in the shape of the branch that he's standing on. When my pen bumps into a line I drew for the feet, I'm going to pick my pen up, bump, jump, land on the other side. Just keep right on going. You can make this branch go any which way you want. You can make it curve out this way, like that. Let's draw on the top of it here. I'll show you more what I mean. The branch should be getting thinner and thinner as you go toward the right. You can have little forks of it coming up here like this. Maybe another one here. Really, any way you like. Add some flowers on that, add some thorns. Maybe there's another little bird hanging out here next to your peacock. Let's draw the rest of the branch here in on the left-hand side. So again, I'm going to trace the line I made. When I bump into the peacock's tail, I'm going to jump, land here on the other side. Keep right on going. Draw on the top of that branch now. Maybe there's a little twig coming up off the branch there. And just as I was tapering and getting thinner and thinner here on the right, here as I go on the left, thicker and thicker. So you have to think the branch will be thickest where it connects to the tree trunk, which I'm going to say is right here. All right. You can do whatever else you like with the tree branch. That's a lot of fun. But I think we need to concentrate a little bit more on the peacock itself. So far, it's looking good, looking very peacock-like. The key thing we have to add in, though, are those special feathers. So let's draw those now. I'm going to go to the peacock's back, and I'm going to make a little teardrop shape. A little teardrop just like that. Next to it, I'm going to make another one. Let's make one above those two, right here. And I'm going to keep on adding these teardrops. I want them to kind of follow the flowy lines I made to outline the peacock's tail. But other than that, I can put them just about anywhere in the peacock's tail feathers. Big one here. Oh yeah. It helps if they're not all exactly the same size. There should be a little bit of variation. They shouldn't be too radically different. They should be at least close to the same size, but they don't have to be exactly the same. It can be a little bigger, a little smaller. And that's okay. A couple more here. You'll notice I'm making them a little bit bigger as I get lower down onto the peacock's feathers. There we go. Let's do about maybe 2, maybe 3 more, just to finish this off. One up here. There, very good. Now once we've gotten those teardrop shapes, I'm going to go into the inside of that teardrop shape, and I'm going to make a little letter U curve, just like that. Then I'm going to make a copycat little letter U curve right next to it. So I'm making 2 little curved lines on the inside of each one of those teardrops. I'll do it again. Letter U, letter U. Here we go. Letter U, letter U. And I'm going to keep going. Each one of these little teardrops is going to get filled in with those 2 letter U's. Letter U, and then a copycat letter U right on top of it. Letter U, letter U. notice as we do this that these look a little bit less like teardrop shapes and kind of start to look a little bit more like maybe eyes. Or some less definable shape. Almost got it. Letter U. Letter U. 2 more. And 1 more. Letter U. And letter U. Now that we've got them all filled in, or all drawn in rather, now we do have to fill them in. Now we'll shade that in. So that little space you created in between the 2 letter U's, so take your pen and just fill that in. Make a little dark stripe. So now these little teardrop candy corn sort of shapes almost look like a stretched out eyeball. And this is part of what the Peacock is doing when it does its display. It's creating an illusion. That's kind of what we're drawing here. Okay. So as you fill these in, you can add in some extra little contour lines like this. It helps remind your viewer that this is a part of a bunch of feathers that are all being pressed together. It helps emphasize that texture of feather. You'll want to fill in any openings at the bottom of the peacock's tail feathers. Close those up. Shade in those extra areas. Make them all filled in. And there we go. That's our peacock. So we can add in a few extra details here. You can fill in some definition around that eye. You can also add in some line weight, make these lines a little bit thicker along the tree. You can pick which side your light source is on, whether it's over here or over here, and then make some shadows on the opposite side of it. I'll show you guys here, this is my colored in version of the peacock that I drew earlier. You can really make these spots pop if you use some contrasting colors. You'll notice I used orange and yellow here to really make those pop out of there. Which is what the peacock does in nature too. You notice it has all kinds of crazy colors in its tail, and that's to make that design really pop and really stand out and be an impressive display. So there you go, guys. That's drawing the peacock.